Hey, welcome back to another Black City Coffee vlog. In this video, we're doing a double time, which is testing out the new face tracking here on my new camera, which I love so far. But yeah, in this video, it's going to be a Q&A, and I've been collecting some of your questions in the past month or so. So I thought every month would be kind of cool to do Q&As like this, where the reason why I don't answer you back, say like in the DMs or in the comments, I typically have maybe a long-winded answer, and I feel like more people can benefit from your question and my answer if it helps, if I make videos and do Q&A videos instead. Okay, so let's bring up the first question. We're also testing this mic right here and seeing what that sounds like. My new camera is the Osmo Pocket 2, and I'm testing the face tracking. Isn't that cool? Okay, cool. So first question comes from m.tyler.randolph. As a coffee roaster, what is your best way to develop your palate and identify notes? So as a coffee roaster, what's the best way to develop your palate? The best way to develop your palate that I've heard and in my experience is to just keep trying things and just keep trying to give words to what you're tasting, write everything down. And I think the best way too is to create your own system. So there's a lot of templates out there. You could be like, you could Google like cupping notebook or something like that, or coffee tasting notebook. And they'll sometimes give you like a template of things to check off to see: bright, chocolate, toffee, things like this, acidic, light body, medium body, full body, like that. I would even venture to say, because this is what I'm doing too, is creating my own language, my own go-to things. If you're a fan of Gary Vaynerchuk, when he was tasting wines and he had the Wine Library show on YouTube, he would describe some of his notes would be like Big League Chew, cat piss, things like that. So things that were very unique but very striking to the mind, so that he could explain exactly what he was tasting in. Just that as I answer your question right now, that's what I want to try to really dig into and connect what I say, like on a vlog when I'm doing a cupping vlog or something like that, and say something that would be unique to me and what I would say, so that way I could really pierce your mind with what I was trying to communicate with what it tasted like to me. Okay, and for putting notes on the bag, it's really comes down to getting the gist of it. I may sometimes coffees taste a lot more than what I want to write, or I can write, right? So maybe I have a lot of notes for one coffee, and maybe some coffees only have two things that they taste like. And aesthetically, right, I want something pleasing. So to me, it'll typically come down to design. What is going to look good on the bag, but also just communicates exactly the essence of what this coffee tastes like, and what the consumer can expect. Okay? So thank you for your question. Next question. I'll just move you around the table here so we can kind of test this. Okay, face track is on. Cool. All right. I don't know what happened there. Okay, this comes from alicevelas.art. When roasting, how much should you roast, cups or ounces? Well, it depends on your machine now, doesn't it? So your roaster has a capacity, and what dictates how much you roast in that machine depends on a couple of things. Like, for example, I have a drum roaster, and most drum roasters before Mill City Roaster started making coffee roasters was to roast something like 70 to 75% of the maximum capacity of the drum. And when I had my Hottop, I roasted 70% of the maximum capacity. So I believe it was, I don't remember the maximum capacity, but I was roasting something like, the batch size was something like 70 grams or something like this. I forget. Something like that. Okay, so I was roasting about 70% of the maximum capacity. Mill City Roasters is true to form. So they have I have a 1 kilogram roaster, 100 grams roaster. I can roast a full batch size with that. And it's very nice. And that's because that roaster is extremely powerful and is very responsive with its heat application. So it kind of depends on what machine you have, right? What's its maximum capacity? And then if it can roast 100% of that capacity, or do you have to come down in a batch size to roast evenly? Okay. So thank you for your question. Next question. 2 questions from Luna Veda 15. Did you just start this as a small business because you didn't know what else to do? Okay. So first question. No, I have a lot to do. I know I have a lot on my plate. And we started this small business. The short answer is because I felt I was good at it and I felt I could make delicious coffee in my garage and sell it to people. That's why. That's the bare bones of starting a business. You think you have a good product and you can actually sell it. That's a good reason to start a business. Sometimes you don't really need much more than that. Our primary business, which is KLV photography, my husband was like, I'm good at it and people are paying me money for it. Let's go for it. And so I learned from that example. And that is the bare bones reason of why I started Black City Coffee. Another reason, the more like emotional and mental and spiritual reasons behind Black City Coffee and starting that and continuing it on even to this day, is because I love it. It brings me joy. And before Black City Coffee, I was not making decisions. I was not ever making decisions that were based upon, hey, does this bring me joy? I was always making decisions like, is this going to pay my bills? Is this going to make me safe and secure? Is this going to make this person like me? Things like that. So choosing Black City Coffee beyond just, hey, this is a viable business model. Viable. There's so many you could take that in a lot of ways. But I love to do it and it brings me joy. Okay, your second question. When did you start getting into coffee? That's a pretty broad question, but I'd say I'll help you specify your question. I started to get into coffee the way that I'm kind of like into coffee now. I'd say maybe 2 or 3 years ago, I started to really be conscious about specialty grade coffee. I was always aware of it before then. That seems pretty recent to be really kind of like into it only maybe 2 or 3 years ago. But that's the truth. Like, I always appreciated coffee. Sometimes I went into an Intelligentsia or Portola and I loved it in there and everything. And I'd kind of just be hanging out in the corner wondering about all the things about coffee. And if I ever got some literature about coffee or if I found something on coffee, I would read it and consume it. But not until I got my Hottop and I started to really take roasting very seriously, because the Hottop was very expensive. And I thought, I better not waste this money or this opportunity. I'm going to learn about coffee and I'm going to invest a lot of time and energy and heart into learning this craft and really giving it 100% of my effort. And that has brought me here. Okay, so thank you for your question. Next question. Okay, this comes from Charles Choi. Can I see again how you roast? I'm a fan. Haha. Curious about the geisha too and the Columbia thing. Okay. You can see me roast anytime you want, actually. If you go to my YouTube channel, I have a playlist there, and many full long video roasts of me roasting Vietnam, I don't know, Honduras, whatever. I don't really know exactly or remember, but I have a lot of videos on that channel that show me roasting, just straight up hitting record and watching the things turn from green to brown. Curious about the geisha too and the Colombia thing. Okay, that's weird. Geisha, yeah. I mean, the last time I roasted my little geisha sample, I think I effed it up a little bit. I think I was too hot, but I only had one shot at it, and it was kind of like my first time doing it, and it wasn't a full batch size, so I didn't really have the best setup for me to roast that geisha successfully, but I will give it another shot in the future sometime, when the cost is not really an issue to me. But it's like $20 a pound, so I'm like, I don't know. The Colombia thing. Maybe you're talking about the Coffee Net samples. Coffee Net was a company that reached out to me through Instagram, and they are a specialty, very unique, exotic coffee, how do you say it, like a wholesaler of green supply, and all of their coffees are sourced from Colombia, and they have really great exotic beans. That I have their number. I'm gonna order from them at some point if it all works out. They're really the next place that I will be ordering most likely a next big shipment of green, if we can afford it, right? So, because they have such exotic things going on over there. I love all the naturals that they're producing. They're so complex and layered in flavor that I really want to bring that over here, and I really want to roast it more, and I really want to taste that more, and let you guys taste that too. Okay, so thank you for your question. Next question. Next question from Ross Colbeck. Hey, I've been following your vlogs, loving the content. My wife and I are looking to start roasting in the next new year. Wondering if you would recommend starting on the Hottop or going straight for Mill City. Your videos are very helpful. Thanks for putting them out there, Ross. Okay, Ross. This is probably by far the number one most popular question I get. Should I get a Hottop or go straight for a Mill City? And I have a really long-winded answer, but I think it's good that I keep answering it because I think how I think about things can evolve and whatever. So here you go. If you're looking to start roasting in the new year, and that's it, you're not giving me any other context beyond that, I would say the Hottop is a great place to start, because that guy's already, if you get the Hottop 2KN Plus, because you want to hook it up, you want to see your roast curve and everything like that, that's what I'm guessing, and you want to roast it manually, right? Not by program or automatic setting. It's a great way to learn roast theory. It's a drum roaster. It's electric, but it's a drum roaster. So you get to mimic what, if you wanted to upgrade to a Mill City, that you could do that. I feel like the transition from a Hottop to a Mill City is very smooth, I'd say. It makes sense. It's bridgeable, for sure. So I'd say go for the Hottop, It's still a big chunk of change, but if you learn everything you can there and you max that guy out, just keep it as a sample roaster. I would have done that if we weren't like, hey, our Mill City is like $7,000. Like, you need to make that $2,000 back so we can buy the new roaster. You know what I mean? Like, so how you feel about spending your money. But I'd say starting off with a Hottop is a great idea. Okay, next question. Those were from Instagram. Now we're moving on to YouTube. What kind of grinder are you using and what setting? And this was from the How to Choose New Coffees to Buy, Cupping the Winners of the Coffee Net Samples video. For that one, when I'm doing my cupping, I actually saved a sample from Mill City Roasters when we did our class cupping. And the class cupping, they give you a sample of what it actually looks like. So I should probably show you, actually. I will show you. I have this mobile new camera. I'll show you. This camera looks great in the nighttime. All right, so I'll show you what it actually looks like. 1, 2, 3. So here's my coffee station. And this is a great example to show you. All right. Okay, so here you go. Too fine, right? This is kind of like espresso style. And on my grinder, it'd probably be like in the extra fine. Oh, the extra fine. Or even like right here. So typically whenever I'm cupping coffees for me on this Capresso grinder, which is not the most high class grinder, but it's good enough, I'm putting that setting right here. There's no number, but basically what I'm trying to do is get to this consistency. So hopefully you can see that. So it's in between. We have 2 coarse. This is like pretty French pressy looking. You'll see kind of big chunks in it, and that's when you can tell like that's too big. And this one's just a little bit more finer, but not like espresso. So not espresso, not French press, right in the middle. It's a medium grind. All right, we're back. Next question. Oh, last question was from Mark C. Okay, thank you, Mark C, for that question. Question is from Samantha Flanders. Did you use double-walled type B venting? I've been trying to avoid the expensive venting kits from Mill City Roasters as well. Yeah, you know, I went ahead and bought the expensive venting kit from Mill City Roasters, but I still had to. I think this comment came from a very, very old video, like when I first got the Mill City Roaster. Venting, I would say, to be responsible and to respect Mill City Roaster too, is I wouldn't get too cheap about your venting, especially if you're going through a wall or something like that, or through a window, or you're roasting out of your garage or your house, and you're having contact with your hot pipes having in contact with something like your house or like drywall or something like that, which is a straight up fire hazard. So I would say try to follow the directions and what is directed of you when you have a pretty heavy piece of machinery such as the Mill City Roaster machine. But if you're trying to curtail the costs a bit, I used double wall venting going through the wall for sure, because I don't want single wall venting kind of like touching the drywall and things like that. That would be kind of like a fire hazard, and that's mostly it. But I did go ahead and spring for the new vent for the vent kit, because I was just like, you know what, I'm in it, man. I'm in it. I'm there. I'm just gonna go for it, you know. And it was $1,000 ish. And I thought, well, you know, it's for life. As long as I take care of these pipes and I clean them as directed, like I'm not using any water, I'm not using any solvents, I'm using dry brush tools to scrape off the oil and things like that. And I keep up a good maintenance system. Like I have a schedule for cleaning, and I clean every 60 roasts or so, or something like that, or especially whenever I change a new propane tank, things like that. So I felt it was an investment, and if I'm at this level of this very expensive equipment, and I am trying to create a business out of this, I just sprung for it. And I feel like when you have a Mill City Roaster, you're saying something. Like you're saying, I'm here. Like you're saying, you're in the game. Or as Steve from Mill City Roasters would say, you're in the ring, you know. Keep your guard up at all times. Thank you for that question. Next question comes from Corey Zheng. Congrats on your successful journey. I have a Hottop right now, but love to get a 500-gram gas roaster in the future. On your website, what's in the 4-ounce sampler? Thanks, Corey. So the 4-ounce sampler on the website is basically a collection where you can get 4-ounce samples of whatever's available. So I basically leave it open to what's currently available. Because I roast in batch sizes of 1,000 grams, I usually don't make, clean bags of or clean distributions of like 12 ounces, 12 ounces, 12 ounces like this, right? So I'll have some left over basically. And those that I have left over when I'm bagging fresh coffee, anything I have left over, I put them in either a 4-ounce sampler or a 2-ounce sampler. I seal it up so it's nice and fresh. And then whenever somebody's ordering the 4-ounce sampler pack, I just pack those away and then I send that off to you. I definitely try, like if I recognize your name or if I know that you've tried a certain coffee before, I would try to always give you something of variety, right? I want you to be able, you're getting a sampler, so I want you to get a good sample. So I'll try to always kind of like respect that and give you fresh coffees, but that are a good variety. And you can always leave me a note in the, I guess it's called notes for the seller or something like that, where you can leave me a note and be like, hey, could you give me like 4 Tanzania? Or could you, like, whatever. You can be like, can I get a light and a medium and a dark and then maybe another light or something like that. So you can always leave me a note and I'll try to make that happen for you. Okay, thanks, Corey, for that question. Next question. We've got 2 more and then we're done. This comes from Jay-Z. Not that Jay-Z. Hello, thanks for the info. Where do you get the bags? I'm starting to roast as well. Good for you. Bags? I mean, there's this, I'm out here in the San Bernardino County, so there's so much industry over here. All you see are these like industrial looking commercial businesses. And I randomly found one and it's called Save On Bags or something. I hit them up. It's a straight up Chinese company. They don't speak any English. But I love them. It's cool. Like I really love the bag that I have there, which is the gold gusseted bag. So it's like gold on the sides. And then actually I have it right here. A gold and black gusseted bag with the tin tie and a valve right here, a one-way valve for your coffee to expel gas as it's, once it's packed fresh. It keeps expelling CO2 as it's as it's kind of like calming down, and this part here can be heat sealed, and that's where I got that. And they had a really great price, and since they were here local, I could have also avoid the shipping costs. So I would recommend, if you're starting to get some bags and stuff like that, maybe find something that's local to you. You don't know. A lot of these places, they don't really advertise that well. They really just depend on other businesses to be savvy enough to go and find them. And then you just work out the deals and terms and find a price that works for you. Last question. All right, this comes from Zav. Love this. Do you have a video on how you came up with and designed packaging and brand identity? I love to know more. Okay, yeah, this is perfect. So this will be a longer answer, and it's a good thing it's last. How I came up with and designed packaging and brand identity. Honestly, brand identity was something in the very beginning, which was like maybe a year and a half ago. I thought of the name first. I didn't have any imagery yet in my mind, but I have a video about how I came up with the name Black City Coffee Roasters, which it'll be in the description. You can watch that. Brand identity. Once the logo came together, and I had a vision of being sort of elegant, bold, masculine, black and white, strong, gothic. And these were the sort of adjectives that were floating around in my mind. And I had always admired and really kind of lusted after the designs of European football teams like Manchester United, or I don't even know any others like that. But you know, have you seen their like, the coat of arms? I'm a big fan of coat of arms design, and I love that kind of stuff. And I feel it's romantic even. There's a romantic air to it, and I really like that. So I feel like my coffee's a pure reflection of me. So when I created the logo, that is kind of how I like to see myself in the best light, which is I want to be elegant, I want to be romantic, I want to be feminine, but in a strong masculine way, which that I feel is me, and I wanted to imbue that in my design. And originally, I have Black Panthers on the side of the Black City logo. Originally, they were tigers because in the zodiac, I'm a tiger, and I've always been. And whenever I read about the tiger and my year is 1986, I was like, man, this thing got me. This zodiac thing got me. Like that is who I am. That's that I feel a connection there. I identify with that. So I feel like it's a complete reflection of me. And that sort of mentality or concept and all that stuff that I just ranted on right now is the brand identity. It's a reflection of me in that current space and time. Which is cool because I later went on to evolve it pretty quickly, maybe like 6 months after I had created that logo. I still love the idea and the concept of the emblem, and that's what you see right now, currently. And I evolved it to that, and it was cleaner, it was more refined, and it definitely, again, reflected who I was at that time. It was like, I'm cleaner, I'm more refined, I'm more clear about what I want to do with my coffee. And I feel that even more now. With the brand identity, there's that whole emotional part. And the thing that I'm sort of like grappling with now is how I'm changing my perspective, how I'm now roasting, it's so crazy that in the beginning of Black City Coffee, I was like, I'm only going to roast light roasted coffee, and that's it. and now I'm like, for one, I'm drinking decaf. I've been off caffeine for almost a month now, and there's been some effects, which I'll talk about like in another vlog. Now I'm like, I'm roasting dark, I'm roasting medium, I'm roasting decaf. I'm trying to. It is my aim to roast any kind of and every kind of process coffee there is, cup it, taste it, and then deliberate, and to be completely open with it. Oh, okay. So this is the original design, right? And not original, kind of like, this was like our next step up in terms of brand design, bag design. And we have 2 stickers, basically. So this looks very nice, right? And I was like, I dig it. I love it. It's very classic. But there's some things about this logo and what I designed here that is not allowing me complete flexibility in producing blends, producing more marketability, more visibility to the 4 different single origin coffees that we have here at Black City Coffee. So I want something where I want a design that communicates that allows me to communicate that. This, I feel, just a little bit too pigeonholed, even though the quality is immense. It looks fantastic. But like all designs, you should never be married to them if they don't hit all the things, if they don't do all the things for you. So it's almost there. I'd say it was 75% there of what I truly want. But I can happily say that from today, we're on the weekend, so I'm kind of at a standstill of where we're going with the new bags and new design and things like that. But it's going to happen, and it's going to involve new labels, which I have some prototypes right here. I'm not going to show you because they're prototypes, but I'm working on it right now, and I'm finally getting a little bit of break from my primary job to focus on Black City so that I can come up with new designs, go onto the whiteboard and just brain vomit about what I think is going to be the next best step for the packaging of the coffees moving forward. So that's my long-winded answer for the last question. Thank you so much for asking your questions. I will chime in again maybe next time, and you guys can ask me some more stuff. I will link everything that I talked about in the description so you can find out if I didn't answer your question fully. I'm sure I answered it in a previous Q&A. Okay, so thank you so much. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.